Churches are dying because they don't have a youth program. It's all the older people, and this is a vibrant part of Highland.
When I do drive by on Wednesday nights, the parking lot is either full or you're seeing cars come and go.
Wednesday night, I would say, is kind of an organized chaos. Kids, adults kind of flying around everywhere. Everyone's trying to get checked in.
Youth ministry here at church is a safe place for some of these kids to come, but also have leaders investing in them and making sure that they're getting what they need as far as their spiritual growth and just becoming the next generation.
The church has a very large part of them growing up to be wonderful Christian kids.
I know Liam, when he first started attending One Way Club, absolutely loved it. And just 2 weeks ago he asked, "Dad, can I have my own Bible?" And that really just kind of shook me and rocked my world, because I don't think I owned a Bible until I was 18, 19.
About 90% of everyone who comes to a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ comes to that knowledge prior to the age of 20. So we want to catch them while they're young. We want them to hear the gospel. We want them to be discipled in Jesus Christ. Let me just back up for a moment. Let me give us a thumbnail sketch of the history of Highland. It all began back in 1985. It was in the living room of Russ and Jan Kocha. And so they gathered other believers in their living room. And by the next year, they had grown to the number where they brought their first pastor, Dr. Ken Moberg. Finally, in 1994, they built what we call Stage 1 of the Wausau campus. In 1999, they added Stage 2. Stage 2 is the 50-50 room, some additional classrooms, and what we call the sanctuary or the gym. And then God led my family very graciously to come to Highland as the next senior pastor. By God's incredible grace, the numbers continued to grow. And by 2004, we added what we call Stage 3 onto the Wausau building. This would be the cafe, the youth room, and the administrative part. It was a cost of about $1.76 million. And through the gracious pledges and offerings of God's people, we were able to pay that off in 2 years and 8 months. Then in 2008, God saw fit to start a multi-site right out of Highland. We had the Weston campus. And then by 2011, we purchased their present property on J for a little over $1 million, an incredible price for a building that was about a $4 million building. God was so good. By 2013, we had paid off that $1 million debt, and then we had the Marathon campus. God saw fit to take a group of believers in Marathon, join them to Highland. In 2014 and 15, where we are today, we believe that God has us doing Stage 4 here on the Wausau campus. This particular stage is a little bit extended of our foyer, but predominantly it is a kid-youth project. We're going to update the cafe for our Generation 180 youth. We're also going to add about 16,000 square feet, some very high functioning nurseries and classrooms, an 8,000 square foot room for the children, divisible into smaller rooms. We're also going to be able to live stream between our Weston, Marathon, and Wausau campuses. And so we're asking all of us, what is our part in this next generation project?
As an older person, sometimes you might feel that we don't have a part in this, and the only part that we might have is financial, and that isn't so. We really feel a part because we feel a part of the church.
They're the ones that are going to be, outgrowing us and equipping their children and then going on for generations. So I think it's important that we start as, they're growing and as they're moldable. And
I feel that the expansion is the result of families seeing the need for the Christian education is an answer to prayer, really.
And when you hear of expansion again, you're thinking, my goodness, how is this? You know, fortunately, we have property that we can do that on. It just seems that we have outgrown, even here in this coffee area. We've had to move these chairs so that we could hold a Sunday school class in the kitchen.
Part of the project will be a tithe, and so $1 out of every 10 will go outside the walls of Highland for other next generation projects to other ministries that are gospel-centered and discipleship-oriented. Now you may say, well, this sounds like a Wausau campus project. No. This is a kingdom project, and it's a Highland project in the kingdom. You see, we are 3 campuses, but 1 church. 1 budget, 1 elder board, 1 mission committee, 1 ministry team leader, 1 staff. We are 1 church. And so we're striving together to take the next step. The cost? It'll be about $2.5 million. Our desire is to pay this off in 3 years. We're asking for families to prayerfully seek God's will. What would we give initially? And then in pledges in years 1, 2, and 3, beyond our normal offerings. Of course, we can't take our normal offerings and apply them to a capital campaign because then our budget would collapse. This is a next generation project.
We are bombarded with programs to support. We feel so strongly that Highland is a vibrant part of the community. We just are very excited about being part of it.
It's so important to trust God and just seek Him in this, because I think that we are just stewards of this church. He's really in control, and that's just an exciting place to be.
We actually get to show our kids and give an example of how important they really are. Some of the older kids, maybe will see the value in that, and what kind of life lessons are we teaching them. They are our future. You know, when we invest in our futures every single day, whether it be a pension or a 401k, or, you know, so why would we not do the same for our spiritual body with our little ones? So
I love what we read in Matthew 11, verse 12. The days of John the Baptist until now, how the kingdom of God forcefully advancing as forceful men lay hold of it. What would be your part in forcefully advancing the kingdom? My friends, unless the Lord builds the house, they who build it labor in vain. Will you join my family in working towards this next generation project for God's glory?